Today, I'd like us to talk about this aspect of sharing, spreading the good news.
Created April 17, 2020, we are an assembly of Christians and without a care of our different denominations came together with the sole purpose of rebuilding our world by word of scripture. We are the Our World Group.
Most often, we Christians, we neglect this. We're not supposed to keep the good news to ourselves. We're supposed to spread it. We're supposed to share to help each other grow spiritually. I'd like us to look at Luke chapter 24, verse 13 to 35. When you follow this very passage, you're going to be unveiled to how Jesus had an encounter with the two disciples who were on their way to Emmaus. Jesus joined them in their conversation. And as they were conversing, they were expressing their worry about how Jesus was handed over and he died, and they were expecting him to rise on the third day, but that the women went to the tomb and then discovered that the tomb was empty and he was not there. Even though the women explained to them that an angel gave them the information that Christ has risen, but that they were still living in doubt because they themselves they have not seen it. As they were sharing this conversation, Jesus stepped in and then explained to them briefly the scriptural passages that indicated that he had to die and then rise on the third day, and gave them some details. As they were journeying together, it was already evening, and then these two disciples decided that he should join them and then stay in their home since it was already evening. And Jesus accompanied them to their home. And when they were at table, Jesus took bread and then prayed and then gave it to them. As he was doing this, their eyes were open and then they now discovered that it was Christ. And when this happened, Jesus had to disappear. They left immediately and were rushing to go and meet the 11 to share the good news with them that Christ truly has risen. I'd like us to visit this aspect of sharing. You remember that Mary Magdalene went to the tomb very early in the morning. She noticed that the tomb was empty, and then the angel indicated to her that Christ has risen as he had said. And she got up and went straight away to go and share the good news with other disciples. The same with these two who were on their way to Emmaus and then had an encounter with Christ. And immediately they noticed it was Christ, they went ahead and were rushing to Jerusalem to go and share with the 11 that were under confinement. Now, I'm explaining this to make you understand that we are not supposed as Christians to keep the good news to ourselves. We're supposed to share. As a Christian, please practice to evangelize. Share the good news, spread it, and pull missing souls closer to God. We are being commissioned as Christians to do this. Don't keep it to yourself. If you keep it to yourself, you're not helping anything. You're not helping yourself too. Because when you spread the good news, you are practically a disciple of Christ. When you spread the good news, you are his true follower. When you keep it to yourself, you are not helping others to grow spiritually. Please, let's practice as Christians to spread the good news, just like we have heard today. We are spreading the good news to pull missing souls unto God. This is what we're being called as Christians to do.